Okay. Very good morning to one and all present here. Today is the second day of this faculty development program. Today's our chief guest is Dr. S. Uday Kumar, Professor, CSE, Savitha School of Engineering, Chennai. So
Hello. Good morning, ma'am.
he has the around 20 years of experience in teaching and research in various institutes under the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. He completed his PhD in the domain of trusted cloud computing in 2017 with a high recommendable reviews at BS Abdul Rahman University. He completed his Master of Engineering in Multimedia Technology in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at the College of Engineering, Anna University in 2003. He completed the Bachelor of Engineering in Electronics and Communication at RMK Engineering College of University of Madras. He has he has been the guest faculty of training Wipro technology staffs and he conducted workshops in various institutions. He has published around 22 international Scopus Index journals and more than 50 international conference presentations across the universities of India. He has a H index of 4, review of 3 Scopus Index journals, and shared 4 international conferences. So I think he is the right person for this session. I welcome you, sir. Now the session is handed over to our
Thank you,
resource
ma'am.
person. Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
ma'am. I'll share my screen. I hope the screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, let me proceed straight away. My agenda for today is about how machine learning and deep learning is provided as a service, okay, with respect to cloud. Because almost you can see that whatever that we try to do or try to implement is moving towards the cloud rather than focusing on any desktop machines or laptop machines or even servers. Okay, we don't straight away buy a server for our implementations. So we basically focusing towards relying on this cloud-based platforms. This has become very famous. So in this perspective, my agenda will be towards why this deep learning is more essential. Deep learning and machine learning services are more essential if you have to shift your focus from your normal machine to your cloud-based approach. So this will in fact reduce the cost, okay, as the well-known factor of cloud. So it will drastically reduce the cost, and also it will provide you a better results than your uh, basic implementation strategies. And also you need not bother about setting up all the softwares, configurations, etc. So we shall proceed with some basic idea of this framework, how deep learning is going to work, and what are the essential uh, parts, tools, and clusters that are required to make this deep learning work for us. That is how our session is going to happen. And I will show you a small demo with the cloud. So first is this framework. First, we need to understand what is the framework. Okay. So for experimenting this deep learning, we need to adopt any of the very famous frameworks, especially this Caffe2, Cognitive Toolkit, or MXNet, PyTorch, and TensorFlow. TensorFlow being the famous for almost for the last 6 or 7 years. Okay, and this is what we are going to actually work on exploring the deep learning. So this frameworks actually rely on GPUs. Okay, so this GPU libraries in turn uses primarily this NVIDIA CUDA deep neural network library. Okay, so you have your working environment, that is the workspace, which is nothing but your Caffe2 cognitive toolkit or TensorFlow. Okay, and this has to work on this GPU kits for high performance. As you know, deep learning is not just a simple machine learning kind of things. Okay, just put some basic regression algorithms and explore its possibilities. You need to primarily work on with feed-forward networks. So once you work on with your feed-forward network, the amount, the volume of computation increases. So naturally, you are supposed to move away from your CPU and use your GPU, graphics processing units. So that is the first thing. So when we go for GPU, these are the options that are available for us. Okay, the first options may be to use your Jetson kits. Okay, this Jetson kits is an autonomous machines. You people can also try this one. It basically starts from somewhere around 15,000 and ends up with somewhere around 50. Okay, so it is quite of late coming as an alternate for your Raspberry Pi. Okay, so this Jetson is for autonomous missions, but we don't we cannot do much with this particular Jetson for high-end purpose. So we go for this desktop-based missions. So when we go for this desktop-based missions, what happens is that obviously the cost involved will be too much. So NVIDIA-based graphic cards will literally push your laptop's price from 50,000 to even 1 lakh and even more on that. Okay, so we are either have to go with this or this. Okay, this is another platform, deep learning platform, purely for AI. Again, this is a costly server side. Okay, so we have a choice of either going with desktop services or going with data center or cloud-based services. That is our approach. So which one to choose? As I told you, this one involves too much of configurations, as well as the price involved is extremely high for especially Titan V, right? And we have to think of going for cloud. That is the perspective. That is what I am going to convince you to make a choice of moving from your standalone desktop machines to your cloud-based machines. So when it comes to deep learning kits, NVIDIA K8 is little bit slow and P4 is little bit faster. And of course, just now I told you, it is Tesla V100 that is provides an extremely high throughput for any deep learning interface. So off late, you can see that it is not CPU and it is not GPU. We are going for TPUs. Tensor Processing Unit, extremely powerful. Okay, so this tensor processing units are primarily for your Google's. Actually, Google is the creator of this particular project, Tensor Processing Units project, and they have developed an excellent platform. And they are not providing it as a kit, but they are providing it for you in terms of cloud-based access. Okay, so it is purely towards cloud-based access. So these TPUs are nothing but ASICs, that is application-specific integrated circuits. What kind of applications? Is purely deep learning applications. So primarily intended to accelerate machine learning workloads. Okay, so we have been just now telling that GPU is the need, Now you can see that TPU has become overtaken this GPU. Okay, so but it is a combination. As more and more number of people try and use this, probably the cost also will come down. So this is just a futuristic perspective that I am telling you, that TPU is the next generation deep learning processor kits. Okay, so this TPU primarily uses TensorFlow. That is the reason why it is projected as tensor processing units. And it provides a high bandwidth memory. Why you need a high bandwidth memory? Because in deep learning, what we are concentrating is matrix computation and not about basic if else, etc., that basic mathematics computations. Okay. In programming perspective, when you program C program or any programming perspective, the more focus will be towards solving a complex equations. That is not going to be the case for deep learning. In deep learning, our major focus is towards computing matrix. Okay, why matrix? Very simple. What we are going to do with deep learning is to compute images and videos primarily. Okay, more than normal data sets, we are going to process images and videos. So if that is the case, then to compute this images, you are supposed to take in terms of 8 cross 8 or 16 cross 16, or in fact of late it is 256 cross 256. That is the blocks. Okay, each and one image. Say for example, if I consider this entire screen as one image, the first right part, this one will be taken care. Okay, this particular part will be processed. Okay, and each and every image is split into blocks like this. Okay, and then it has to compare each and every blocks with the next block for motion capture, motion vector processing, as well as for calculating the what is the next frame, prediction frames. So this is the major things. Okay, more or less what you will do is you feed some 10,000 images of cars, and you will be trying to find out which is maybe Tata, which is Ford. So it just naturally, if you take a picture of a car, it has to focus on the exactly on the logo, and it has to split up, pick it up, which is Ford or etc. Okay, so primarily it is purely matrix computation that is going to happen in the form of vector processing. So your CPU is absolutely useless. So you have to go with the GPU or your TPU. Okay, tensor processing units. So this tensor processing unit is waiting to arrive. Let's not deal too much on the future. Let's focus on what is happening, what is present. So the present is it's all about deep learning in the cloud. So it uses neural networks to exhibit human-like learning capabilities. This is the basic things. Okay, it involves these cognitive features. Not only eye senses, it also involves about the vision, or then the perspective of your brain, how it visualizes. Everything is grouped together and it finds out. So training deep learning models is absolutely not feasible in your traditional CPU servers. So your workload requires typical GPUs. And this GPU, as I just told you, is offered in the cloud by providing you that particular kit. I told about this particular kits, Titan 5 or Tesla V100 or DGX2 or whatever kit that is there, that is provided in the data center, and you can access, you can use this particular via the cloud platforms, either platform as a service or infrastructure as a service. So let's focus on this, how it is happening actually in the cloud, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to integrate cloud computing with the revolutionary machine learning technology. Okay, so what gives is the intelligent cloud. What happens is that your intelligent cloud will deliver the machine learning features on the cloud platform with ease without not having to worry too much on, in fact, on the models or algorithms itself. Let me see how it is providing. Okay, so before that, of providing SAS, IAS, and PAS, let me see this cognitive services. So this cognitive services primarily focuses on vision, speech in terms of bots. You can design a bots, and then in terms of languages, NLP, natural language processing, and in terms of knowledge search. Okay, that is primarily focused by your Google engines, and of late you can see that when you search, it is pinpointly giving you search results from YouTube videos exactly focusing on where the keyword in the particular frame lies. So that is the next generation search, and in fact it's even more um, uh, forward. One of the very good examples for research will be to find a particular person um, in a particular movie, the time taken, okay, the time taken, screen presence of a particular person in a movie or anything. Okay, that is the present research going on in Google. Okay, and they are to extent successful with this cloud compute, this deep learning perspective. And another research will be to use this BERT model, bidirectional BERT. Okay, that particular model, Google's BERT model, is helping this natural language processing in focusing in some sort of taking the keywords and processing it in two different directions. Okay, uh, that is another one deep learning approach. So this cloud computing, cognitive computing is what we are focusing towards as a deep learning approach. Okay, so in this, the first will be to give this service as an auto ML feature. Okay, this is the first service, that is, it is providing a service, software as a service. Okay, how? Simple. Straight away APIs are given. Okay, straight away APIs will be given to you, and you are supposed to use the APIs for object detection to sentiment analysis. Okay, the task of writing 1,000 lines or 100 lines of codes becomes totally negligible. You can just pick up one model, put it, run it. That's it. Okay, you can just finish the basic things, will be basic projects in a matter of few hours. That is the idea. Okay, so you can just train your model using your cloud auto ML, right? And this particular feature is provided as software as a service. So you just pay for what you use. Then is your platform as a service. So as this particular slide points it out, the number one always will be your AWS. Okay, and then your Microsoft Azure, and Google is slowly catching up with the both AWS and Microsoft. So this platform as a service is very useful when cognitive APIs do not meet the requirements. That means, for example, here what I told is auto ML features. You can just use the pre-packed models for your data set. Okay, but if I want to fine tune, you cannot do it here. So what is that is, you are supposed to configure it based on your objective. Okay, one beautiful example that I have given is your cognitive APIs, that is the previous one, will able to identify the cars, but it will not able to identify or classify the cars based on brands and models. So what happens? So in order to classify it, you have to rearrange the images, or you have to pinpoint the images where exactly it has to focus. Okay, so based on that, you need to label it. Okay, and you need to write the data science models for that particular service. So in order to write your own code, remember, in this particular place, you need not again bother about what kind of GPUs are provided, okay, what kind of machine it is giving, whether it is Python or Scala, whether it is Spark or Hadoop, nothing you need to bother. You just need to develop the code and perform the operations. This is about your platform as a service. Okay, so you can just, I will just a bit explain it in deep. So what happens is this, so tools like your Jupyter notebook will be given, okay, and you are supposed to make all the codings, right? And maybe some of the best examples will be your Amazon SageMaker, Azure ML services, and Azure Cloud ML Engine, and IBM Watson Knowledge Studio. So what is happening here in this machine learning PaaS is that you, as a developer or data scientist, are supposed to do the train and tune operations, whereas the DevOps team will configure the machine and they will provide you the final part of SDK. Okay, so here you are going to bother only this particular area, right? So this is what your platform as a service. So when platform as a service is again not suitable, the last and final option from the cloud is to utilize the entire stack of the raw computing power of the data center, that is the cloud. Okay, so what it will provide, you can pinpoint what kind of CPUs or GPUs you want, and you can configure the VMs. If you don't like the VMs, use DevOps, Kubernetes, or Docker engines and make an environment. On top of that particular environment, you can choose what is the notebook that you want, precisely whether it is going to be Python or Scala or SQL or whatever it may be. Okay, so you have almost all the features available at your doorstep, and only thing is you are supposed to configure it. Okay, but remember, again, this is not a headache. Okay, being a computer science, I feel that we should not choose this SAS. Okay, a normal layman who doesn't even know computing can use this software as a service, can go with this AutoML, okay, for quick development. And we can either choose between platform as a service or IaaS. Okay, so better, I would suggest that you need to go for IaaS, because in platform as a service, you don't know the cost behind the provider. Okay, you will be given that Jupyter notebook or whatever environment to develop it and to program it, but you don't know what kind of machine they are offering, and the rate will be little bit fixed. Whereas in IaaS, you can choose what you want. Okay, so mainly you can just think of IAS in terms of you can have your own IDE develop using GitHub repositories, and parallelly a data scientist can use this Jupyter notebook, combine the data with your Azure Blob services. It is nothing but storage mechanisms, and then combine it at this particular level of DevOps services. Okay, so once you are finished with coding as well as developing the app, then you can host and deploy that particular app on top of this Kubernetes platform. Okay, on top of this Kubernetes platform, of course, you need to register it in the normal Docker or Kubernetes registry. Okay, that is natural, right? And then using proper DNS, you can just convert that into an app and you can use it. Okay, if you people think that this is little bit complicated, I am sorry, it is very easy. Only thing is you need to try it out. Okay, so you need to have the GitHub account as well as the Azure account, and once you are done, you can just quickly develop your projects using this platform. It will be the fastest way to approach. Okay, because many people will be reluctant to use these kind of services, but I am assure you that it is rather very much easy than what you think of it. Okay, so almost IaaS providers are numerous, platforms are there. Okay, and almost Amazon provides NVIDIA GPUs, Google gives you TPUs, and Azure gives you NVIDIA GPUs, and IBM just the bare metal GPUs. That's why IBM is not that much focused. Okay, with respect to cost and time, of course, our king is Google. But with respect to the performance, AWS. That's the reason AWS is still the top. Okay, GCP means Google Cloud Platform is fast approaching. Okay, so now my focus will be towards providing you a small demonstration of Databricks. What is this Databricks? Databricks is nothing but Spark. Okay, there are two things for processing huge big data. Okay, one is batch processing, another one is stream processing. So this batch processing primarily requires the data to be in place well in advance. Okay, so for that particular case, Hadoop is the best. But what is happening right now? Everything, okay, the technology is so advanced that in Amazon or Flipkart, the recommendations, the services that is being provided, the offers that is being given, okay, the choices, okay, variety of choices. As you browse the Swiggy app, as and when you browse, they are providing some offers, combos, etc., until you choose something that suits you. Okay, they don't straight away provide you the best in the initial stage. They are waiting for you whether you are choosing the right product or right food or not. Similarly, AWS, Amazon, Flipkart, or whatever it is. Okay, not only that, okay, when you take up this production systems, especially when it comes to this manufacturing sector, okay, the products that is coming in, the product that is going out, everything is on the live mechanism. And also the IoT. Okay, the IoT has boomed like anything. Wherever you see there is a sensors. And what is the point of having sensors? You need to collect the data and you need to process and you need to give you a productive prediction report. In order to do so, the Spark is the best. Okay, and it has become almost like a de facto standard for most of the machine learning things. So why Spark? Simple. It is a streaming processor that sits on top of computings, which is nothing but GPUs. Okay, so what is this Databricks provide is that it gives you Spark streaming capability in the cloud. So since it is there in the cloud, you can excellently auto scale for your convenience. Okay, as and when the data explodes, auto scaling will be the best feature. Okay, and then apart from this, the Spark also provides you excellent support for all these four or five different notebooks: Python, Scala, Java, R, and SQL. So almost all the data scientists will be working on this Databricks alone. Okay, so let me go with the Databricks. I hope I am going on smooth. Is there any doubts? You can just stop me. Okay, fine. I think right now you are seeing my Azure login. Yes? Yes, please answer. I'm into my browser and I am into my Azure login. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So first thing in Azure, this is your Azure interface. Okay, this is so probably number 2 in the world. Number 1 obviously will be your AWS service. Number 2 will be your Microsoft. Number 3, your GCP. Google picked up little bit late when compared to these two organizations. So first thing is I am going to create a resource group. So what is this resource group? So this is a sort of a container. Create. Okay, it is sort of a container. So it holds all the developing objects, okay, in this cloud as a single entity, something like creating a project. Okay, in your Eclipse or NetBeans, you just start with a project. Okay, under that project, a number of programs will be there. Similarly, here under this particular resource group, you will be having your machines, virtual machines or containers. You will be having your data stores, okay, database, and you will be having your static pages for interface, the DNS, the networks, everything. Okay, everything you name, it will be there. So before going, I will just show you what is all services. All resources, you can see that I'm almost deleted all my resources. Okay, nothing is there. So no new resource, no existing resources. I'm just starting off with basic resources. These are all deleted resources. Okay, so resource group. So I put it as deep learning resource group, RG exit. Okay, RG1. Deep Learning RG1, resource group 1. And I'm choosing the region preferably. The default will be East US, and you can probably choose any of the offers that is coming in. Okay, we have got one in Chennai and another one in West India, that is Pune. Okay, Pune. One is Chennai and another one is in Pune. 2 data centers are available in India. And remaining almost some 30 data centers are there worldwide. I'm choosing South India. Always, when you choose a cloud service, it is always better to choose the nearest one. But for few subscriptions, it may not give you the right platform in the right data centers, because most of the superior offers are available only in US and UK data centers. So next is review and create. Okay, deep learning, yes, it has been created, right? Deep learning RG1 has been created. So now I'm going to go with the service called Databricks. Azure Databricks. Okay, so this is purely the artificial intelligence. Okay, if you want to make your data and use the data to build artificial intelligence, and this is the only choice. And as I told you, it is primarily Apache Spark environment. Okay, just zooming in. Create Azure Databricks. So now the reason why I created the resource group is for every computing power you ask, whether it may be storage, or whether you want to create a DNS, whether you want to create a network, or whatever it is, you need to put it in a single container. And that is the reason why I created the container first. That is the resource group first. Okay, the project. So deep learning RG1. And then I am giving the workspace deep learning workspace. Okay. Again, I am choosing the nearest one. In case if it is not successful, yes, South India, you can move away. So the pricing tier will be for standard Spark, and you need not configure this networking. Okay, whether you are going to connect with other networks, etc., no need. So review and create. So it will take a minute. Based on the bandwidth, the deployment speed will be there. So meanwhile, I will just tell you about redundancy. There is two types of redundancy. One is local redundancy, and another one is your geo-redundant service. So you can just either choose for both the thing, but the cost will be for geo-redundant the reason for geo-redundant is your data will be placed in 3 different locations in 3 different data centers. Whereas if you choose this local redundancy, it will be choosing only this particular Chennai data center, and then in that particular location only it will be placing the. So as a backup, I just, let me wait. Once this is over, we can go with your storage accounts. I think I will open it in a new tab and I will parallelly do it. Okay. The reason for creating a storage account is where will you put the data? Okay, you need to upload the data, right? So for that purpose, you need to create a storage account and you need to create a container in it. Again, deep learning, you need to choose the resource group, because then only this particular project and this project will be linked. Okay, your deployment is complete. Meanwhile, I will just use this one just for the purpose of creating, ensuring that both are being linked together. Okay, storage account name, deep storage account 1. Same. That is South India. Review and create. Okay, let it start. Meanwhile, I will go to the resource. This is the previous window, that is the Databricks. Remember, this is Databricks. Okay, so the Databricks has been created, the workspace has been created, and now I am going to launch the workspace. Okay, so this is your workspace. So what you have got is Databricks environment. Okay, now remember, all these times I have been speaking of about GPUs, that is the compute that we need to choose. Okay, right? So now we are supposed to take up this computations, create that computing environment as the base. Okay, to make anything, you need to create a base. That base will be creating the compute cluster. Okay, creating the compute cluster. So you can see that this is the compute. Okay, this is where I am. Okay, so the basic compute cluster that I am going to create it. So deep learning cluster 17 today's date. Okay, so the cluster model is standard. You can choose high concurrency or a single node, and here you can see that I have been given n number of options with respect to Scala. Okay, Scala and Spark. I am going with the long-term support. So in case if you don't have any activity, it will terminate because it is costly. Okay, why it is costly? Because you are choosing literally a 14 GB memory and 4 core processor. Okay, that is, as you know very well, this will literally cost you more than a lakh rupees for if you are going with the laptop. Okay, so there is of course variety of choices. You can choose from 14 GB to standard will be 224 GB with 4 GPUs. Okay, right? I'm just choosing the basic, whereas in case if it is going to be some research perspective, based on the research perspective, you can use this particular service, run it, and immediately once the run is completed, maybe within half an hour or 1 hour, once it is completed, you can just wind it up. Okay, the cost will be very, very minimal when compared to any other service. So number of workers and maximum number of workers. Workers in the sense, again, a copy of this. Okay, this is one worker. Standard DS3 version V2 is one worker. So I like that I am creating 2 workers. Okay, minimum 2 workers, and maximum I can just make it as 4. Okay, and then I'm creating the cluster. So what is a cluster? Cluster is basically the machine that you are now creating for doing this machine learning or deep learning process. And you can see that you can just clone it. Okay, this clone and other stuffs will be very useful in case for large industrial purpose. You can just clone the same machine using YAML command, YAM, and maybe this Jenkins and all will help you to just make it. Okay, and this is an UI. If you want to go with JSON for just a command line interface, you can go with the JSON also. Of course, it will take time. Let me see the storage. The storage is complete. Okay, now I'm going to create the container inside the storage. Okay, new container, right? Name of the container, UDHY1, private, non-autonomous, yes. Create the container, go to the container. The name of the container that I kept is Uday1, and upload the file. So what you are going to upload, long back, okay, I have got some maybe 2,000 pictures of airplane, automobiles, bird, cat, deer, dog, frog, horse, etc., ships, trucks, etc. 2,000 images. Okay, I'm just going to upload it. Yeah, cluster is ready. Okay, I'm teaching this blob storage only because to access this blob storage from the Databricks. Okay, uploading your data and accessing the data. And in fact, you can directly access it also. Again, it is taking time. Let's move on to the cluster. I have created the cluster, and I can start the cluster, or I will be opening the notebook. That is the main thing. Okay, right? Because we have been like to we have been working, okay, most of the machine learning peoples will be working with notebooks only. So this is it, the notebooks. Notebook is ready. If you want to change from SQL, say for Python, change it. From Python to Scala, anything. Okay, you have got 4 options: Python, Scala, SQL, and R. So just a simple command to take diamonds.csv, one small CSV file, okay, which is already there in the standard location, okay, as a sample file. That is the reason why I told you, in case if you are going to choose this particular file, okay, that is, what is the name of the file? 2000 pics underscore CAFR 10.si zip. You can just rename it. That's it. Okay, nothing much. Run the cell. I need to start the cluster. This will take a little bit time to start the cluster. This is it almost. Okay, you have got the environment as the base. Okay, that is the cluster using 14 GB RAM and 4 cores with 2 computers. Okay, because minimum workers we have mentioned it as 2, and on top of that particular machine, you have been given this particular Databricks environment, and this Databricks environment provides you a note. Okay, a note. With this note, you almost, it is similar to your Jupyter notebook. Okay, and using that you can choose SQL, whatever options that is there, and once the commands you start using, you can either access this particular file through the commands, okay, and start doing it. Okay, this is almost let's wait. If it is running, I will just show you a few more commands to see what is there in the data set. How much time is there? Or else I'll just show you the screenshots that I did. So this is the blob container. You have got this blob. Everything is should come under the single container. That is very essential. Okay. The cluster is still starting because it will take time initially. Once it is started, the beauty is that it will just take few seconds. Okay, the next time to start. Okay, I will just better show you the thing what I have run it previously. Okay, so once this command is done, I'm going to, that is that particular data set is ready. Okay, that CSV file, I'm just seeing what is there in the CSV file. These are the informations that is there related to a particular diamond features, etc. Okay, and then I'm taking the Spark, okay, Spark engine to run that particular CSV file, and then I'm just doing some create table process, okay, using this basic commands, and then I'm just creating your basic chart, how it needs to be looked into it. Okay, everything, this one will be inside this particular notepad. Okay, so this is it. So almost you just need to run this command again and again, that's all. Okay, it will again take little bit more time. Okay, fine. That's it. You can create another new note, or you can just create another command. Everything is possible. It's very similar to your normal notepad. I mean, normal Jupyter. Okay. So this is it for today. Almost my session is over. It's all about working with Databricks. Okay, don't just take it for granted. You can easily experiment all the features in Databricks, and you can quickly explore all kinds of deep learning algorithms here. And I will just show you this auto ML feature also here. I told you, no, this auto ML, you can just take it as a service and configure, train, and evaluate. Simple. Okay, you just need to start one particular cluster. Okay, create a new computing option, what kind of computers that you want. Okay, whether it is scalar or same thing almost, and then you need to choose that particular cluster, what type of problem you want, what is the data set, what is the prediction. Done. This is the easiest way. I told you in the presentation, this is the easiest way, that is use the as software as a service. What I showed you is literally almost infrastructure as a service. That means I configure the machine, I configure the what is the language that I want, everything, and then I configure where the data should be put in place, where the output should be, etc. etc. Okay, so this is it for today. Thank you. Any doubts? Thank you, ma'am. This is it almost for over.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You have explained very clearly about how to work with how work deep learning algorithm in the cloud environment. Clearly, we have a nice, wonderful demonstration. So, our side, how to work it, then only we can get practice. I think
Yes.
so. Thank you, sir. Thank you
Sure,
so
ma'am.
much for our immediate
Thank you.
acceptation, invitation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, participants, do you have any doubt? Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again. So thank you for all
Sure,
the
ma'am.
participants. Okay. I will
Thank you,
send you attend.
participants.
I will send the feedback link. Please fill it as the feedback. Thank you, sir. Sir, now you can leave, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks for
sir.
the opportunity, and thanks, participants. Thank you. Hope you continue with your data bricks. Okay. And do well with your research activities. Thank you all.
So participants, please write. I will send the feedback link. Please write. Participants, I have posted the feedback link. Please fill it.